All right, I just want to say a word very quickly. These Frontier mills are just phenomenal. I don't think you can buy a better sawmill for this price point. Just like with anything, if you buy a lawnmower, whatever you buy, you're going to have to do maintenance on it. And so I've run my mill really hard, cut thousands of board feet on this sawmill in my first year. I've owned it for about a year and a half. Eventually, this clutch, the bearing in the clutch went bad. And so when I went to replace the bearing, that's when I ran into a little bit of problem. The interior diameter on the bearing is actually a full 1 inch. The outer dimension of the bearing is 47 millimeters. The width of the bearing is 12 millimeters. And you can't find that bearing anywhere. And so I've got a friend with a machine shop who is machining out the inside of this bearing to a full 1 inch so that I can use the original clutch eventually that comes right with it. And you can see the 47 millimeter bearing fits right in there. But again, the 25 millimeter, you can find a 25, 47, 12 anywhere. And in fact, I bought a box of these and for $18 got 10 of them. The problem is you'll have to get that inner bore machined out to 1 inch, at least for the OS23 with the 10 horsepower. Maybe some of the other ones, maybe the 7 horsepower is only 25 millimeters, but the 10 horsepower is a full 1 inch. So just keep that in mind. You got to be 12 millimeters thick because there's a snap ring in here. If you're any thicker than that, the snap ring won't go back into the clutch. There's a snap ring that fits right in a groove right in here. So keep that in mind. A 25 millimeter will not work on the Briggs & Stratton 10 horsepower. All right, this is an OS23 by Frontier sawmill. I've taken the belt off, the drive belt, which runs through here, and we are getting ready to replace the clutch right here. The old clutch is already off, and we're getting ready to put the refurbished clutch back on. All right, this is the shaft that's coming out of the 10 horsepower Briggs on the sawmill. You can see here's some pieces from the old bearing that went out in the clutch. There's a ball bearing laying there. There were some spacers. This is the bolt that just goes in the end. And then there were a couple spacers. There's a piece to the key from where we took the old clutch out. We're gonna try a new clutch with this. This clutch right here came from another manufacturer. It's a little bit more heavy than the clutch that came with the sawmill. So here is the back of the clutch that came with the sawmill. There's the clutch that I've just purchased. It's a pretty significant difference. The pulley size is the same. This has a keyed shaft where you have to put a key in. This one has the key built in. You can see it right there. And it has a little set screw. So we'll see how this goes. We're going to try to put this on and see if we can get the clutch pulley to line up with the tension pulley. And then we'll see. So we're going to put this clutch on here in just a minute, tighten it down, and fire the mill up and see if it works. All right, we're going to go ahead and begin by just sanding off this shaft a little bit. This is 320 sandpaper, and we're also going to take a little piece and sand out the key. I've taken these two small spacers off on the back. This clutch has a set screw where I can set it in a certain spot. If we see that doesn't work, we'll put these spacers back. But my concern was that they would be making all kinds of noise, making us think something was wrong if they're just back there and they were loose. All right, it looks like that's as far back as this can go. So I'm not gonna worry about that set screw back here. I'm gonna hope that this spacer on the front with this will hold it. Now, something you'll find that's a problem when you're taking this clutch off as well as when you're putting it on is trying to hold the shaft still. In order to tighten up this screw, we put an extra washer on this just to make sure that we were holding this, this clutch tight. And we put a channel locks here and we're able to tighten this screw. Now, I don't know if this clutch will work or not. Again, this is a clutch from another manufacturer. It's a heavier built clutch. I feel like the clutch itself has some play in it. And so we'll see if it works okay. If not, then we'll get the other bearing and put the Frontier clutch back on this. But my mill is already out of warranty. Otherwise, I would not even put a clutch from another manufacturer on it. I would only go with Frontier parts. But so if your mill's under warranty, make sure you're using the parts that they send you from Frontier. It's going to cost you about 150 bucks, and that's not really that bad for what you got to do. Okay? All right, once you got your clutch on, you want to go ahead and get your belt back on. It's not always the easiest thing in the world to get these belts on here. Usually you can just take a screwdriver and kind of pull it right in through here. So this is just a tool for a chainsaw, and we're just going to try to pry this up. What we've done is we've loosened this so that this pulley is down as far as it can go, and you just got to gently get this belt up and over the edge. It's a little tricky. Don't know if you can see it on camera or not. There, we're up and we're on. Now you'll need to adjust this pulley so that it's tight. There's a couple different places to adjust it. There's a bolt right here where you can raise and lower the whole pulley apparatus, and then there's a tightening mechanism over here. Typically I'll take a pry bar and just try to push this up a little bit. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. I don't want to put too much pressure. I'm not trying to bend the blade cover, but I do want to get this pushed up a little bit and then start tightening it down. What I'm doing is I'm loosening the adjuster bolt. There are 2 bolts down here so that I can tighten it a little bit more. Okay, that feels pretty good.